All right, hey guys, we got some interesting activity this morning, didn't we? So we're going to be talking through this and seeing what's going on. So far, it looks like pretty much just a liquidation break. We'll see if it gets kind of worse out there. But yeah, we got some fireworks going off. So anyway, we'll dive into it. Good morning to everybody. I see you guys tuning in and jumping in here, so that's great. For anybody who's new to me, always got to tell you, TG Watkins, Profit Pilot over here. If you guys want to check out more information, go to profit-pilot.com. And then, yeah, I have we're on the services already, but I was expect to be here on home where you can check out the newsletters that I have and, see what I'm looking at. The last thing I was talking about was the IBD 50, and that's one of the ETFs that we'll be going through. So the FFTY and then the Russell, kind of looking at both of them as roadmaps for each other. So let's dive into it. Get into, let's see, the S&P here. And we got, oh, and then does anybody else? I've been asking some people, and it seems like maybe half the people know about this, half the people don't, about sell Rosh Hashanah and buy Yom Kippur. It's kind of like, buy the rumor, sell the news. It's one of those adages that in the stock market seems to be working out, and it seems like it's coming to fruition this time. Also, that September is a generally weak month. But right now, what I've been seeing is fairly consistent with what we've been seeing for the last few months. Kind of early in the month, we get some sort of little pullback here to the daily 21. You can see like right there, daily 21, and right there, daily 21, and right there, daily 21. So initially, with this pullback that we're getting today, I'm looking at it as fairly normal. We've seen it a couple times before, and then we'll just see if it can hold. And then if the market can continue to grind up higher, I don't know, for the rest of the month, something like that. Another way to kind of look at this, say on the hourly chart, is what we saw before. Price kind of just went sideways for a while as it needed to chop through and figure out where it wanted to go. But so far, not seeing anything too bad. For the daily chart, we still still have the 8 over the 21. And I do see that the Moxie indicator is firing, but that one's not painted yet, so we still have time on that one, so we'll see where it goes. And yeah, we'll kind of just keep watching these moving averages with price and the 8 and 21. And then eventually, I think towards maybe the end of the month, or middle late end of the month, we'll get something like a pullback to the daily 50 like that. So keep that in mind if that's going to be affecting your positions. And then we get into the Nasdaq. And with the Nasdaq, we were seeing this thing pretty elevated, and so far it just seems that it's kind of just burning off some of that overbought sentiment up and through here. It's up here at that third ATR, so that was a little bit up there, and then you can see that there was a gap between price and the 8 EMA. So it's up there, and kind of right now it looks like it's just kind of chopping sideways. We'll have to see how much further it wants to go. Does it want to just stay at the daily 8 EMA? Does it want to go further? Anything else like that? But so far it looks okay. Like it doesn't look like it's going to really, really roll over and die or anything like that. So far everything here kind of seems normal to me. And then if we look at let's say FFTY, this is the IBD 50. And man, this thing had a good move. But of course, anything that has a too good of a move, it's going to run out of steam at some point. And it looks like today was the day. Let me zoom in on the 15 and see if it actually started yesterday. Nope, pretty much started today. Maybe just a touch of a rollover yesterday, right there into the close. But most of that move down today, and it was just getting excessive. You can see I drew a line here where price was getting past the previous high. So yay, that's good. I mean, I like seeing that this ETF has reached new highs. That's good. It generally tells me that there's some strength out there. So, other than the pullback that we're talking about and seeing, we should be seeing generally, kind of good markets out there. It's still a little funky, but generally speaking, if the IBD 50 is taken off like this, then that's got to mean some good stuff out there. So that's what I've been looking at. And you can see here it also got way outside of that third ATR on the daily chart. So, pretty far, pretty oversold, or pretty overbought, and likely to come back down at some point. And on the hourly chart, you can see that it was so overbought that it had put a pretty big gap between price and the hourly 50. So we've been looking at that. So then we can take this and we kind of relate it to the IWM. And I thought the IWM was going to get a little bit higher before it pulled back like this. I was kind of looking at maybe the previous high up in that area. Apparently, it didn't really want to do that, and so it is pulling back right now. Now, what we can see is it's coming back down to the daily 50. So I'm very interested and curious to see if that's going to hold somewhere in that area. And then on the hourly time frame, what I'm seeing here, let me kind of zoom out on that, is pretty oversold. Like this pullback, pretty stiff. It's outside of that lower third ATR, and then it's pretty far off of the hourly 8 EMA. And technically, right now, it's a trampoline move. And a trampoline move, and this is the benefit of the Moxie indicator, is that you got price below the 50, but the Moxie indicator above 0. So according to the Moxie indicator, this should be pretty buoyant. Like we should still have a lot of upward energy, a lot of positive energy. And the fact that price is below that moving average tells us that we should actually be looking for price to go back up, like, kind of jump in and then pop up. You don't want to just necessarily buy the dip, so we need to wait and watch for the lower time frames to actually tell us that this thing's ready to move back up, because it could take a little bit of time. But right now, with this initial reading, that's what I'm looking at. So trampoline move on the hourly. We're at the 50 and the 21 on the daily. We'll have to see if that holds. And then if the IWM can start getting up and start finding some support here, then that should be pretty good for the rest of the market. And maybe this thing will start developing kind of through September and start building a base for things to then move up towards the end of the year. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. All right, now, yeah, good to see you guys. Loco no Joko, good to see you. Let me know if there are any kind of tickers that you guys want to be looking at. Otherwise, I'll kind of go through and show you what I'm seeing. And one thing here with GBTC, Bitcoin, we were discussing this yesterday in the live session for the Moxie team. I was kind of concerned that there was a gap between price and the daily 50. And I wasn't sure if that was going to be an issue. Bitcoin kind of does its own thing, but I wasn't sure if it was just going to chop sideways here before then moving up. And it seems as though, especially with that El Salvador news, that seems like the ultimate buy the rumor, sell the news. Like, oh, news comes out that El Salvador is now accepting Bitcoin. Yeah, sell that news. So that looks like that's what's happening. It's starting to come down and touch the daily 50. I'm not sure if it's done yet, mostly because we are still underneath these moving averages and we're starting to roll under here on the hourly. So it could take some time. We'll have to see if more robustly if this wants to get closer to the daily 50 over the course of time. With that, we're seeing Ethereum, kind of looking at the ETFs of Ethereum, pretty easy to see that this thing was likely to pull back. It was way extended, third ATR. And then if you look left, it was pretty, if I could draw a straight line, it's pretty much at that double top. So, a lot of double tops right now have been getting sold into. Even Coin, if you look at this one, there's a little bit of a double top right there. So double top on that one. And then we'll just have to see if that wants to hold. Basically, if it wants to hold the daily 50 with the 8 over the 21. We'll have to see. I'd love to see Bitcoin keep moving up. I'm trying to trade a couple positions on it. So, yep. And let's see. If we look at it's Etsy, I think was the other one. Yep, there you go. So Etsy, we were kind of looking at. You can see here, drew a line. A lot of this previous price congestion and price went right to it and then kind of stalled out. So we've got that one. And then, even Palantir was kind of running into these double tops. So I'm just kind of showing you guys that we've been running into a lot of these resistance areas like this, and they run up, and instead of just pushing through, they're coming back down. And so we're seeing a lot of kind of resistance like that. Even Tesla was kind of doing it a while back, right in through here. You can see right here, it kind of got sold into with this previous high right there, and it's starting to kind of push up a little bit. So great, but yeah, I don't know. It's doing all right. It's kind of come up here on that third ATR. So I'm looking at this as kind of a longer term play. Hopefully that works. But yeah, this market's a little weird out there. All right, let's see. Yeah, let's trade. Nice. So GME, I think it has earnings coming up. So for GameStop. Yep, earnings. So I'm just, anything goes for earnings. Earnings don't care about your technical analysis. So for this one, yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see what earnings want to do. But before that, what I was looking at when I was talking to the Moxie traders with is you could see here that GameStop was up outside of that third ATR, so kind of overbought. And then also there was a pretty big gap between price and the 8 EMA. So I was looking for a price to come back down closer to the daily 50. Now, as I said, let's check back tomorrow or the next day whenever earnings is passed, and let's see what happens with that. Kind of on that area, we've got BlackBerry is one of those that is kind of those meme stocks. It's kind of doing the same thing as GameStop, and then TCAT is another one of those. You can see it kind of popped up and then pulled back to the daily 50. So we'll have to see if it's going to catch some support. In fact, it looks like it had a bit of a bounce today, probably as price is trying to figure out what it wants to do about that daily 50, and then maybe kind of around the area of the hourly 200. And then we have AMC, which is one of the other meme stocks. And kind of looking at this one's actually holding up about the best. And you can see it was trying to transition through that daily 50. There's still a bit of a gap there. And then here it's been holding the hourly 50 all right. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. There is a good chance that it might need to come back down here and come back down here before then moving up. So just kind of keep that in mind as far as pullbacks. I think one good example of what that looks like is if you look at Home Depot, right in through here, you can see that as Home Depot is trying to transition across the daily 50, it did some bouncing around. And you can see here that it came back down into the daily 50 and to the daily 21, and then down in here it came into the hourly 200. So that could be something that we're looking at. Yeah, Ken, as far as Tesla, yeah, it's having a good day. I mean, the market moved down, but Tesla's still holding up. So, that's cool. I like seeing that kind of thing. Hugo, nope, not going to be moving to El Salvador. If anything, I think it would be Costa Rica, because since they have, a 4% flat tax for income. And so, yeah, a lot of traders, a lot of people who make a lot of money like to go out to Costa Rica for that reason. Let's see, KOLD. I am not familiar with this one. Loco no joke, looking for a quick bounce. I don't know, man. KOLD. So gas, okay, ultra short. So you're thinking gas is going to go down, so KOLD is going to go up. I don't know. Maybe. It seems a little risky to go for that. Yeah, I see that it's kind of extended to the downside. Yeah, natty gas inverse. Yep. I don't know. Let's look at actual gas itself. So UNG. Okay, I see what you're going for. Probably the fact that it's overbought. So big pop up like this, then you'll be getting like a pullback. So okay, that's reasonable to think if you want to be trying to tackle a pullback since price is pretty high. It's a little challenging to do that sometimes because you probably thought the same thing back here, right? That seems like that would be a shortable area because price is very high, and yet today it's even higher. So maybe now's the time, but just careful that you're trying to probably play with fire, I guess. No pun intended though on that one. But yeah, I get you. Outside of that third ATR, usually there's a pullback, and so yeah, it's seeming pretty extended. So good luck on that one if you're going to try and tackle a pullback on there. Mud Dabber, thank you. Yeah, I love the Moxie indicator. Great. Hugo, yeah, we checked Bitcoin, or sorry, coin. We'll kind of go back to that because what I'm looking at here on the higher time frames, this is kind of what I was a little concerned about is if you look here on the weekly, you still have the 8 below the 21 on the weekly time frame for coin, which means your momentum, the trend is still down. Now, I think it's trying to narrow that distance. It's trying to get the 8 closer to the 21 so that it can flip over and actually start moving up. So, maybe we're on the cusp of that. And then here on the daily chart, we're just going to have to see if the daily 50 is going to continue to be support and if we can keep the 8 over the 21, and we'll be seeing if the hourly 200 is support. But I think that was the reason as to why price isn't really taking off right now for coin. Not to mention that Bitcoin is kind of going sideways too. I mean, don't forget, when you look at Bitcoin, you can see the line that I drew in, where to go, right there, which is right at the bottom of all of that previous price congestion. So there's just a lot of junk right there in that trunk. All right, Georgia, let's see. IIPR, that's Cannabis Real Estate. Yep, it's been doing pretty well. I was considering this way back here, right there, as price tapped the daily 50, but I had no idea that it was going to go up like this because the rest of the cannabis sector is the rest of the cannabis sector is not doing anything. So I didn't want to go into something cannabis related when the rest of it wasn't doing well, and so kind of shocked but impressed that this thing is doing well. Now, maybe be careful because this thing is looking pretty up there. Probably thought that a couple times before. Let's see what it looks like on the weekly. Yeah, this is kind of the only reason to start being concerned is it is outside of that third ATR on the weekly chart. It's outside of the third ATR on the monthly chart, and it's kind of pulling away from some moving averages up there. So it's getting pretty high. Seems like the likelihood of a pullback or maybe a flag is starting to increase. So, if you had a good time with this one, then great. Make sure you protect your profits on it. And then IBB, yeah, looks like it just basically bounced off the daily 50, bounced off the daily 50, so that's doing well. Now the problem is I'm seeing it's right here at previous highs, and how's it going to get through? Not too sure. You can see that this last time it pulled back and tried to get through. So if IBB is going to keep going up, you're probably going to have to give it some time and maybe some wiggle room. Basically, maybe it's going to need to test that daily 50 again. I don't know, but it's got a lot of resistance right there. So keep an eye on that one. Yeah, Hugo, no problem. I can tell that some of you guys got some pretty good. Somebody was my own subscribers were trolling me yesterday because sometimes fat fingers I type in soy instead of spy, and they were asking me about how that one was looking again, and I kind of fell for it too. All right. So Sama, my P&L, I keep a trading log. So let's see, I can actually show you here. Right there. So these are all the trades we take. So there you go. If you're interested in coming over to the Moxie subscription and service, then you get access to that and you get to see everything we do. So yeah. Loco no Joko, you asking about overall outlook for the market? I think I kind of covered that in the beginning with all the indexes. So hopefully, when this thing stops, you can go back and check out the recording. Another one that I was looking at as far as kind of an overall thing, maybe we're kind of looking at Disney, is, a lot of things that I'm looking at have been coming into the monthly 10 and the weekly 50. So big picture, that's looking okay. And for Disney, you can also see here that on the daily chart, it's starting to, that's starting to look good. So we're starting to see some good growth on, say, Disney. And I even alerted this out to my subscribers to the day, actually. This was pretty great. That is a trampoline move. Price below the 50, but the Moxie indicator above 0. Boom, right there. So that was a good trade. And if we look here, it pulled back into the daily 21. So we're going to have to, yeah, that was a pretty good setup. I'm personally not going into it. It's a very slow stock. I like to try and get something that's a little bit more exciting. But I know some of you guys out there are longer term investors or you want something to do with other accounts. So I like to put a lot of ideas out there. Also, similarly, you got Home Depot. And let's look here on the monthly and weekly. And you can see obviously it's been in a pretty good uptrend. And I'm looking at this basically flagging sideways here, probably trying to get closer to the monthly 10. And it's come into the weekly 21. And it too, kind of like IBB, is having some issues right here at the previous all-time high, trying to figure out if it's going to be able to get through it. So as a way to maybe figure out if it's going to, I look down a little bit lower at the daily chart. And what I like here is that price has pulled back into an uptrending daily 50. So far this thing looks like it's trying to get going. We got the 8 over the 21 and we have price coming into the hourly 50. So again, slower stock. If you guys are interested in something longer term, maybe even doing leaps, whatever. Home Depot, Disney, looking pretty good. Loco no Joko, teach us about roll week. No, I don't know what that is. And what do you mean, like rolling up options or futures rollover? Uh, I can't really speak too much about that. The only thing I can say is we got FOMC on the 22nd. We're in the middle of sell Rosh Hashanah, then buy Yom Kippur, and then September is seasonally weak. So yeah, there's not much that I can really speak to that as far as the roll week. So sorry, man. All right. But then for the next 7 to 14 days, kind of just the middle of September, honestly. You know, we've got, as I said, sell Rosh Hashanah right now, so we're kind of seeing some weakness. And then we've got the FOMC, and sometimes it's a little bit tricky. You know, all eyes are on FOMC always. And yes, I do have a chat room, and I'm in it. You know, people ask me questions here and there, and so yeah, I will text back. It's a little bit challenging when you guys ask me specific questions because I'm trying to answer a very visual thing like trading, like stock charts, in words. So it can be a little bit cumbersome to try and actually answer those questions, but I do my best, and I'm in there. You know, every day. You know, sometimes I step away from my computer, so if you don't hear from me for an hour or two, it's because I'm doing something else, and then I come back and I answer questions. So yeah, I'm definitely around, definitely attentive. Let's see. Then we got a couple. Let's see. BGFV is another one that we've been talking about. We made a pretty good trade off this one. I think ultimately it was like 30%. Yeah, about 30% is where we maxed out on this one. And I'm pretty happy that we didn't go back into it yesterday when we were talking about it because this one too, you can see the line, but price here went right to the previous high. So a lot of double tops out there. And what I kind of see are price running up to that double top and then pulling back, kind of like AMC, GameStop, BlackBerry, you know, BB. Those they're doing the same thing. They're kind of jumping over the daily 50, and then I want to see them fade back into the daily 50, and then see if they're going to be able to do something. So something like Big Five, hey, cool. It was a high short interest stock. We had a good trade on it, and we're out. And now we wait to see if this thing's going to pull back into some support, and then we can nab it later. Um, oh, more so. Okay. I was like, I don't know that word. You want to sign up for explaining process out loud while you're doing your own trading. I don't want to answer my questions. All right. All right. Let's see. Looking at so another one, you know, kind of Snapchat is another one that we're kind of looking at if we're talking about the overall, you know, health or feeling of the market. Something like Snapchat seems like we should be doing all right. Now, I'm in something like this, and you can see here we've got price basically there was a resistance level, and now we popped up because of earnings, and we're right up there. So it seems like this should be pretty good. Really, a lot of the things that I'm seeing, I guess maybe September, is a lot of stuff is just kind of going sideways and we're just waiting for it to get going. But something like this should be pretty good. Price is sitting right on top of its previous price area. That should be great. And so we just kind of have to wait for that one. And then I think even Shopify is kind of doing the same thing in through here. Yeah, you can see that other than that, we had price right in through here. Big area, and now we've got price sitting up here. So Shopify should be pretty good. You know, it's sitting up there at the highs, just waiting for the next opportunity to start moving. Another one, I guess, is we look at an ETF. This is the semiconductors, and it just keeps kind of pushing. You know, so you can see here too, right there, is sitting right on top of its previous price area. So I'm looking at these things saying, hey, they sure look poised to get going. It's just a question of when. And I don't have that answer yet. Maybe it's going to be after September, but it's looking all right. Let's see, like Amazon. I know they had a big pullback, of course. Everyone's been talking about it. And in through here, Amazon generally is just kind of holding sideways, staying over that monthly 10. Did get a little overbought back here, and then news brought it back into this area, and now it's starting to move back up. So I think it's just a matter of time. If we kind of look down at the daily and the hourly, this is the kind of stuff where I'm like, okay, you know, I see things moving, but we're going to have to give it some time because we are right here at the upper third ATR on the daily chart, which is not a place that I want to go buy it. and it is running right into the daily 50. So we're going to have to see if there's just any kind of pullback in through here, and then maybe it goes up like that. And what that would look like on the hourly chart is a potential trampoline move. So if price got below the hourly 50, while the Moxie indicator is above zero and things are looking pretty good elsewhere on time frames, then that could be the next big move on Amazon if it works out to the upside. So I am looking at that. I'm trying to see if that's another longer term something that I might want to trade out there, kind of like Disney and all of that. And then Apple, another one, because we go over here and we look like this, you know, don't these things look good? Here's Apple, right there, previous flag, and it is sitting right on top of it. So now we just have to wait for these things to go sideways a little bit more, kind of get cool off from their overbought situation, and then start to move on up again. And we'll have to figure out when that is. Right now, it does seem a little high. It's kind of up here at those third ATRs and stuff. So maybe a little bit of a dip. We'll have to see when, but maybe just something under here at some point, and that might help refresh that, bring price a little bit closer into the daily 21. So basically, I think that's kind of the name of the game, is we got to hold tight through September, and then hopefully in October, November, December, when seasonality is better, we might be getting something good with the market. So, all right, everyone. Well, thanks again for your time. If you ever have any questions, there we go. That's the trading sheet. You come over here to profitpilot.com. Let me know if you have any questions, and come join the service if you're interested. So hopefully you guys like this, and I will catch you next Wednesday